Hey guys, Eli here. Welcome back to Seinfeld Saturday, where I review and discuss individual Seinfeld episodes. I think you'll notice I kind of took a different approach on this one. I dug really deep and I took a ton of notes. I took 8 pages of notes for a 23-minute episode, so I think this will be pretty cool. So today I'm talking about Season 2, Episode 2, titled The Pony Remark. Now, the beginning of this episode was history in the making, as it is the first episode to have Jerry's father, Morty Seinfeld, played by Barney Martin. Barney was destined to play this character. He was born for it. I personally believe that Morty is one of the best Seinfeld characters of all time. Every time he was on screen, you were guaranteed to have a laugh, and he has some good, just really iconic scenes and lines that I will never forget. Morty is as classic of a TV character as it gets, absolutely up there with George or Kramer. So the episode starts with Jerry's parents, Morty and Helen, visiting New York from their retirement community in Florida. They are in town for some sort of family gathering. Morty mentions to Jerry that one of his proudest accomplishments in life was creating the beltless trench coat and going to work for Harry Fleming. This would come up numerous times over the course of the show. It's just classic Morty. And he named it the Executive, which you learn that in the 5th season. So Jerry's parents want Jerry to go to the family event, but he doesn't really want to go because he has other plans. He states that the people are like second cousins or something like that, and he really doesn't know them at all. Now, this episode also has the first ever mention of Uncle Leo, who would also become another iconic character. It's also the first time that Jerry's cousin Jeffrey is mentioned, who you never actually see, even though his name comes up numerous times over the years. At the 3-minute 33-second mark, in walks, you guessed, Kramer. Who else, right? So he's stopping by to invite Morty to join him in his hot tub that he has in his apartment living room. Classic Kramer. He tells Jerry about his plan to change the layout of his apartment so that it has no furniture, only like levels and steps and tons of pillows everywhere. Just like ancient Egypt, he claims. And it was actually this part of the script that actors were asked to read for their auditions to play the character of Kramer. So Jerry and Kramer are arguing over Jerry wanting to make a bet that Kramer would never actually bring this idea to life. Kramer says it's a sure thing, and Jerry argues that this is just one of, the many ideas that Kramer would flake out on. Kramer tries to make a bet with Jerry that he would execute his remodeling plan, and later on in the series you learn that Kramer has a bit of a gambling problem. And this is also the first episode to feature Jerry's uncle, Uncle Leo, who, like many, would become an iconic character. Very important, in my opinion. He's got some great scenes throughout the series. He mentions Jeffrey working for the Parks Department, something he would bring up numerous times over the years. And he is, for some reason, just endlessly fascinated by it. As everyone is having dinner at the family gathering involving Jerry, Morty and Helen, and Elaine, who Jerry brings along, Uncle Leo, and a handful of other family members that you never really see again. And Jerry announces that he has to take off a little early. And they are celebrating the birthday of Manya, who I think is supposed to be either Morty or Helen's cousin. Helen mentions someone she knows that owns horses, and Jerry and Elaine jokingly mention how only spoiled rich kids ever have ponies, just for conversation's sake. This really upsets Manya since she had a pony growing up. She's super fucking pissed off. The next day, Morty and Helen are getting ready to fly back to Florida. Kramer drops by Jerry's place to say goodbye, and Morty asks him how the levels are coming along, in which Kramer says that he changed his mind about it. Jerry tells Kramer that he won the bet, but Kramer argues that it doesn't count since he changed his mind, seemingly not understanding how he lost the bet to Jerry. They argue about this for a minute or two, and it's a pretty epic scene. Right after Morty and Helen leave, Jerry gets a phone call, which was news that Manya had actually died the night before. Helen implies that maybe it's possible that Manya died that night because of being so worked up about Jerry's pony remark. It's edgy and dark moments like that that made Seinfeld such an amazing show. They just weren't afraid of controversy. So they are all invited to Manya's funeral, but Jerry has a softball game that day, and he's been practicing for it. He says that it's not like Manya would know that he wasn't there. Morty is more upset that his plane tickets back to Florida are non-refundable. The next day, Jerry, Elaine, and George are at Monk's Cafe having coffee, and Elaine says that she can't believe that Jerry would even consider skipping the funeral. George randomly brings up the fact that he can't possibly imagine a scenario in which he would ever get a chance to have sex again. Only George would bring this up as a funeral is being discussed. Elaine states that Jerry may have just maybe killed Manya and should not skip the funeral, but George sees it the other way because he's on the same softball team with Jerry and the team really needs him. So Jerry decides to go to the funeral with Elaine. Afterwards, Uncle Leo is yet again telling Jerry about something going on with Jeffrey at the Parks Department. That's like the second time just this episode alone. Morty is trying to get someone to write a doctor's note so that he can get a refund for his non-refundable plane ticket. It starts randomly raining, postponing Jerry and George's softball game, and Jerry is now able to make it. But for some reason, he performs terribly, like laughingly bad, and causes the team to lose. So Elaine says that maybe Manya's spirit interfered with the game as kind of revenge for Jerry killing her. As the final line, Jerry says, "Who figures an immigration is gonna have a pony?" And Elaine covers her mouth, kind of laughing, and it actually looks like this may have not been part of the script. To me, it looks like Julia Louis-Dreyfus maybe broke character by accident, and they just recorded it anyways. Anyways, this is a good episode. Not one of my favorites, but it's important for having, the first appearances of Uncle Leo and Barney Martin's version of Morty Seinfeld. I'm going to give the Pony Remark a 7.5 out of 10. Is this one of your favorite episodes? What score would you give it? I'll see you guys back here in a couple weeks for the next episode of Seinfeld Saturday.